Welcome back. The International Monetary Fund says that Mozambique should take steps to address information gaps that remained regarding the use of loans granted to 3 state-owned companies. The IMF visited Mozambique from July 10 to 19 to discuss findings of an audit by risk management firm Kroll into the country's $2 billion in hidden loans to tuna fishing company Ematum, security firm Prondicus, and Mozambique Asset Management. The audit showed roughly a quarter of the money remained unaccounted for. And Burundi's inflation rate eased to 15.1% year-on-year in June from 18.8% in May, helped by lower food price growth on local markets. Our food price inflation fell to 20.8% from 27.8% in May. The East African coffee producer was hurt by drought and flooding in 2016, prompting a government decision in April to lift taxes and custom duties on some imported food to cope with rising food costs. Burundi's economy was seriously damaged by 2 years of political unrest after its president decided to run for a third term in April 2015, with the nation's problems deepened by cuts in Western aid. And a Moroccan court has granted an extra 3 months for the liquidation process for Same, the country's only oil refinery. The deadline has been extended to October 21. The 200,000 barrels a day refinery was shut in August last year due to financial difficulties. It was placed in liquidation and an independent trustee was appointed to run it. At least 2 offers have been submitted for Same, but neither was a firm offer, prompting a court extension for the deadline. And on commodities matters, South African Mineral Resources Minister Mozambique Zwane has proposed a restriction on granting and renewing mining rights that are needed by producers to operate in the country. Zwane has issued a request for submissions on the proposal, having regard to the national interest and the need to promote the sustainable development of the nation's national resources. The minister's move raises the stakes in his dispute with South Africa's mining sector after Zwane published controversial new rules last month aimed at sharing the country's mineral wealth more broadly, but which companies say will destroy the industry. The Chamber of Mines, which represents producers, has taken the government to court to block the rules and said last week that Zwane had agreed to suspend implementing the rules until there's an initial court judgment. And OPEC and non-OPEC members are set to meet in St. Petersburg, Russia on Monday, July 24. The meeting will discuss production cut deal compliance and current situation in the global oil market. Well, let's discuss how this might play out with research analyst at financial derivatives company Ayomide Sanusi. Hello Ayomide, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So the OPEC meeting, OPEC and non-OPEC meeting, that's one day. Now what do you think will be the major focus of this meeting, looking at what is happening in the global oil market?
This meeting is a sequel to a previous meeting held 3 months ago in Vienna. So this time they're going to be reviewing the performance of the oil market since their last meeting. They're going to be looking at the prices and output. A major item on their agenda is the oil, expanding the oil caps to countries that were previously exempt from this oil cap before. And also they will be reviewing the oil cap, trying to see, because it was extended to March 2018.
Now, okay, talking about the countries that were exempted, now we have Nigeria now and Libya being invited to this meeting. What are the likely scenarios that could, play out? Considering that even Nigeria is not even producing as much as the 2.2 million barrels that it's targeting.
Yes, Nigeria and Libya were 2 countries exempt from oil caps because of conflict in these countries. With OPEC, OPEC is a cartel, right? So they have suppliers, a small group of suppliers, and a large amount of demand. Let me give you some background information. So they have within the suppliers, they have the price leaders and the price followers. So the price leaders are countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the strong ones, and the more vulnerable ones, the price followers, are Nigeria and Venezuela. So with this background information, there are three possible scenarios. The first is following the attitude of the stronger countries. So we could have them disagree on the oil caps and say they want to do their own thing. They want to produce at their desired level. This is like a worst case scenario, because if they do this, we would have unregulated supply, and then the oil market, which is already pretty volatile, could become much more volatile. The second scenario is if Nigeria and Libya agree to the price cuts and they agree to cap the production at current levels, which will result in, probably a bullish trend for the market. And the last scenario would be maintaining the status quo, leaving production where it is, and leaving Nigeria without any caps or any form of OPEC regulation on production.
Now, talking about OPEC as a cartel, like you called that organization, now, do you think OPEC, seem to be losing that ability, or perhaps its position as a cartel, as you have called it, with the growing shale production?
To an extent, because they are no longer the controlling authority of the oil markets now. They have competition from the U.S. and in the United States. Oil production is more cost effective, so it's easier for them to produce oil. And so OPEC will have some competition, definitely, and to an extent they might lose control, like a rigid control over the oil market. And to be honest, they've done their best. They've put in price caps. They're trying to control outputs, which is in turn control prices. But there's only so much artificial controls can do. If the market is oversupplied, it's oversupplied. Yeah,
and so what do you see, what's your outlook for the oil prices come next week?
Coming next week, we would expect that oil prices would depend on the decision made on Monday. If, like I said, if Nigeria follows through with the production cuts, which our oil minister has already said we will do, then we might see a bullish trend in the market. We would expect that outlook for prices would increase in short term.
All right. Thank you very much, Ayomide, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Ayomide Sanusi is a research analyst with Financial Derivatives Company here in Lagos. Well, that's a wrap on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Chimize Obi. Welcome.